So CAD and Cut is giving customers access to industrial process that otherwise they wouldn't have access to. It covers such a wide variety of possibilities in a simple or as complex form as that might take. I like the variety of getting out there, meeting customers, problem solving, even when it's going wrong. It's quite rewarding. And agriculture, there's just so many opportunities. Problem solving is agriculture through and through.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome along once again to a very special profile piece. This time we're out again with Mr. James Hudson. He's no stranger to you guys. We've done lots with him, looking at some of his various bespoke projects and builds and things like that. But this time we're checking out his CAD and Cut business, which is part of the bigger business, which is your JF Hudson business. So, I mean, CAD and Cut, for a starter, where does it sort of fit within the JF Hudson business?
So it covers quite a bit of what we do, and it sort of works with my engineering background and want to solve problems. So a lot of the videos we've done in the past has come from a problem solving background. So the weeders, there's a problem there, can we find a machine to solve that problem? The compact front boxes, that's a solution to a problem. And that's basically what this is. Right from the simplest form, which is basically a laser cut piece of steel, like this. Yeah. This is basically a piece of steel that goes on the bottom of a bolt for a bolt box for bolting stanchions to the concrete. The reason that's simple is because it's just laser cut. We supply them to a customer to save him the time of cutting and punching. And it means that he can get on with other jobs. It's very simple. Yeah. This is a part rail fence post, and the same with that. It's a job that could be done with a metal worker, but actually, from the customer's point of view, it's better for them to do other things and get a product like that laser cut, and then they'll do the processing like galvanising and all the other bits that go with it, and it'll save them quite a bit of time for various reasons. Then we sort of move on to the hard to find or the obsolete parts. So an example of that is the trough surrounds, the stainless steel trough surrounds that we make for the Delaval HB50 parlours. That came out of a customer that I was working for at the time who's had galvanised ones that had been in from the parlour being installed and they'd rotted away. So how do we replace them in such a way that they're not going to rot away? So they're a sort of a product that we've ended up adding to our range, and sometimes that happens. Sometimes a project that we'll do for somebody then becomes a product that we then sell. From the sort of obsolete, they then go on to assemblies, which are like slightly more complex. Like this here, this is a tool for changing liners on a Delaval robot milking machine, VMS. And that was a customer came and said, look, this is a challenge. We're finding this hard to do. Can you come up with an idea? So that's where this comes from. And this is an example of a product that we've then taken on, made one, it did its job, so then taking it on and now it's available to buy off the website. There's a laser cover there for a Lely robot. That's a product that we make for a customer and he then sells it. Right. Same as the calf prams. We basically make them and then supply them to our customer, who then supplies them to the farmers. So we sort of go from the assemblage to the even more complex, which is the things like the silo crab, which is, again, that's a problem that needed solving, and off the back of that we've ended up with a product that would help other farmers. For things like, well, everything here, I use SolidWorks. It gives me the ability to draw something, whatever it might be, and send a video of it to the customer. Through SolidWorks, we can rotate it in such a way that you can look at all the different sides of it. You can properly visualise it before you can start making prototypes. And I can share that video, and then the customer can say, yes, but I want this altering, or yes, but, or no, you've got it wrong. And before you've even cut any steel, you can have half a chance of knowing that you're right or wrong. Yeah. It means that we can be as efficient as possible with materials. We can put material where we need it and save it where we don't need it.
And when some ideas are presented to you, obviously you come up with some ideas yourself, you identify some problems, but those problems that have come to you by other people, what sort of state are those ideas in? Are they sketched out, or is it literally just a challenge, you figure it out, or is it just all? Does it vary a bit?
It varies massively.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like some will get like a coloured in drawing,
Yeah.
which is grand, and some it's like I've had this idea and we basically talk about it, and I try and interpret what they're saying, and normally I can get quite close. I can get to pretty much, but then equally sometimes you end up with a few alterations. But that's where SolidWorks pays for itself.
Yeah.
Because you can basically say, right, is that what you're thinking? And they can say no, and you haven't cut any steel, you haven't wasted any material, you've just
taken a bit of time.
Taking a bit of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So once you've done your SolidWorks stuff, what comes next after that?
So most of the time it's either produce a load of drawings out of SolidWorks, and sometimes that'll be all the customer wants. But then it can be as much as, right, drawings are right, yes, go and make it, and we'll make one, or we'll make as many as required. And then sometimes it then leads on to more work in a sort of product development. So we've done the design, we've done the sort of the computer bit, but then the actual like making a prototype, putting it together, assembly, that's the sort of the most complex version of CAD and Cut, which is basically from concept design to manufacture, assembly, prototype, the whole job. And that's pretty much what we did for Hoof Count. We helped design and build 2 prototypes of the Hoof Count Transit,
right,
which is their dry cow management system, which weighs and foot baths the cows when they're dry, so that when they go into the herd, they're in as good a condition as possible. And it was a foot bath, weighing, but also an out-of-par feeder. So it combined as many things as possible. One project I did was drew the steelwork of a milking parlour, and then produced the drawing so that the customer could go away and effectively produce that milking parlour themselves. And that ended up with 115 different drawings of the different parts that then made up the sub-assemblies that then made up the whole assembly. And so, yeah, that was a reasonable sized project.
Sounds like it. So the CAD and Cut business then, or the CAD and Cut side of the business, would you say that's something you're very passionate about, without sounding too soppy? Because you've got loads of elements to JF Hudson, the bigger picture company, but this problem solving side of it.
Yeah, it's certainly, the business we have has sort of evolved over the last 7-8 years, and in some respects we've ended up doing such a wide variety of different projects. Some of the things we've ended up doing, it's one of them situations where you'd never, if you set off to say, right, we'll end up doing that. Well, example is building a silo crab.
Yeah.
Never in a million years would I have foreseen that in 2014, but it was an opportunity. And so as a business, because when I say we, it's me and Lindsay, and help from other people who aren't to be forgotten about. Exactly.
She's not going to let you either.
Well, like there's Rach, there's Nige, there's my brother, there's other people in the background, and I do sometimes think I'm guilty of saying we when really it should be me, because I do think it's maybe making it sound grander than it is. But the reality is there is more to it than just me and Lindsay. The business we've ended up with is just by its nature being quite a diverse business. From a small business point of view, we're in a position where we can react faster than big business. So if someone rings up and says, I've had an idea, come and see us, I can go and see them, and I can look at it and say yes. And equally, if someone rings up and says, what do you think to this idea, or can you do this, it's a yes or it's a no. And if it's no, normally it's a no, but I think I know who can. Because I am conscious that you don't want to take on everything, but it's hard to not say yes as well. You want to try and help everybody, but you know you can't. So sometimes it's a no, but I think I know who can help you. From a manufacturing point of view, there's processes coming now that weren't as available as they are now. Example of that is 3D printing.
Yeah, I was just going to say, looking at that down there.
Yeah, the 3D printing is a fascinating process. This is a part that we produce for the calf prams, and basically it's 2 3D printed parts that go together to create a hinge. And there's 4 of them parts replacing 4 steel parts, which then made it a lot easier to manufacture. And so that's an example of how I can use 3D printing to solve a problem.
Yeah.
In the liner changer, there's these are some parts that we've 3D printed to basically go from a round tube to a square. They're relatively cheap to produce and pretty quick and easy.
Yeah, and there'll be little to no waste with 3D printing because you're not cutting anything.
No.
It's printed in the shape you wanted it in.
Yeah, and equally you can be quite resourceful with it because it isn't necessarily solid. You can alter how dense it is, how much fill there is within that. So you can
have cavities within a...
Yeah, you basically tell it how much fill you want, whether you want 10%, 90% or 100% fill, and it'll just work out and basically lattice inside. So you don't see it on the outside, but if you cut into it, you would see the lattice that has then gone to make up that part. And this is an example. This is basically a cup holder for a tractor that I got quite frustrated one day. I just got so mad with the cup holders in one tractor, so I thought, right, solving that problem. And so that basically drops into the tractor. So now...
So that drops into a cup holder, which is just far too big.
Yeah, and basically your can or your cup just baggles about and falls out and your drink's everywhere. So that basically drops in, and then my can and drink won't go anywhere.
You made a bush, basically.
No, basically, yeah.
Put with some fancy slots so you can put your mobile phone in as well. So as well as little components like that, hinges and things like that, what other things does 3D printing suit? Is it great for prototypes and things like that?
Oh, massively, yeah. And it's quite a good way of prototyping because, like I said, you can alter the amount of fill. So you can basically you could print something as a shell, knowing you wanted it full, prove it works, and then just print the next one as 100% fill. So, from a prototyping point of view, this is where this is a sort of process that I can make use of. Unlike laser cutting steel, it's relatively affordable solution, which then means I've got the ability to solve problems quite quickly.
Yeah.
And that's how I could justify spending money on a 3D printer. And in fairness, with things like the parts that it's made for the calf pram, it paid for itself straight away.
Yeah. So obviously we've discussed a lot about your CAD and cut projects within ag. Is there anything outside of ag you do at all?
Yeah, I mean, we've ended up doing all sorts of completely random jobs. And back to what I said about, like, as a small business, if someone brings it up, it's a case of a yes or no, and you can sign yourself up to something you think, what have I just done?
Yeah.
But with the coronavirus, we've ended up sorting out coronavirus post boxes, which are post boxes for the sample tests, and they've been going all over the country. That's for a multinational laboratory company, and so that was a random job.
How did you even get involved in that?
Because the chap who's managing director lives in the village.
Right.
And he rang up and said, "Think you do this?" I was, "No, I think so."
Not what you know, is it?
No, it isn't. No. And then that's like just some of the stuff I end up doing is just random.
Yeah.
But it's just having the ability to say yes when someone wants an answer.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's certainly that's one of the most random.
Just following on from that, what would you say? I mean, what's been one of your most enjoyable projects to work on?
Yeah, one of the most rewarding was to make a trophy for a new class at Wednesdale Show for the modern tractors. It was in memory of a local lad who passed away far too young, and it was one of those situations where you got a phone call to say, "Can you do this?" And immediately the answer is yes. But then afterwards you put the phone down and think, I don't know how I'm going to do it. And that's where, in fairness, SolidWorks did its trick, because I set off with an idea, started drawing it, and then sort of through the process of drawing it, you realise actually it makes sense for this. It becomes 3D because of the way you're drawing it and the way you've designed it.
Yeah.
And sort of solutions present themselves. You think, why don't I think of that? But that's the beauty of using SolidWorks, that solutions that sort of appear. And so yeah, that was certainly it was most rewarding, I think, is the. It's certainly one of those that I thought, what have I done here? But yeah, done a good job. I'm pleased with that. So yeah.
And I suppose just to wrap up and finally sum up CAD and Cut.
So CAD and Cut is giving customers access to industrial process that otherwise they wouldn't have access to. So 3D printing, laser cutting, plasma cutting, and producing a solution to problems in a simple or as complex form as that might take. It covers, and that's some of the challenge really, it covers such a wide variety of possibilities. It's sort of hard to sort of explain in a way that people might be able to think, oh, I know, I can make use of that. There's a fair amount of opportunity out there.
That's it.
So, yeah. Perfect.
Well, as ever, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
I'm sure we've got more in the pipeline and more to come from you.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys have enjoyed that. I certainly have. As ever, go check out all of our other videos and go and check out JF Hudson's website as well for more details on the old CAD and Cut side of the business and all of its other various aspects to its business. But for now, thanks for watching and we'll catch you again next time.